new year brings a new beginning. For all of our listeners that own a business, we want to tell you about FedEx Office. If you are just starting or have been running your company for generations, FedEx Office gives you the best way to print marketing materials, posters, signage, graphics, and so much more. With FedEx, creating, editing, saving, and ordering are fast and easy. We're teaming up with FedEx and Podgo to bring our listeners 30% off their next order of $100 or more at podgo.co/FedEx. That's podgo.co/FedEx for 30% off your next order. FedEx, the world on time. Welcome back to the Bro Country Podcast. My name is Joey, and as always, I am joined by
Chris. What's going on over tonight, Joey?
Hey man, not a whole lot. Just ready to get this episode started. We have a fun one tonight. We're going to be talking Eric Church's Mr. Misunderstood album, and I think I can speak for us both when I say that we hold it to a very high standard, and it is one of our absolute favorites.
We do, and this is going to be the first full episode that we talk about Eric, who's obviously one of our all-time favorites, and this is definitely probably one of my top 10 albums of all time, so I am super looking forward to jumping into this one with you.
Most definitely, man. I might even go as far to say it's a top 5 of all time for me.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But first, we have to get our news out of Nashville. There was a lot going on this past week.
Yeah, this has been a wild week, hasn't it?
It has been a crazy week. Let's just address the elephant in the room. Morgan Wallen, he's really going through it. Put himself in a very unfortunate situation by using a version of the N-word and was caught on camera. And this is probably no news to anybody that follows country music, or just the news period.
Music in general. News in general.
Yeah. So, very unfortunate that he did that and that he put himself in the situation he's in. He's been dropped from 400 radio stations, or maybe a little more now, I think. CMAs, CMT have removed all of his media content from their platforms. He is not eligible for an ACM this year. His label has suspended him indefinitely. I don't know really how long that is or if they're going to officially drop him, but it's just unfortunate, Yeah,
it's definitely unfortunate. It's unprecedented. Never really seen anything like this in the country music community before. And this is the story today, but the story is going to unfold, and there's going to be other stuff happen. So we're obviously going to be there for it, and I'm sure we'll be talking about this again in the future.
Yeah, we just hope he comes back stronger and a better person after this, and just really take some time to self-reflect and grow, because we could all use it, but just with the things that's happened with him over the past year, I think he really just needs to take some time and self-reflect and just grow as a person,
Yeah, absolutely, man. He's the highs that he's had and the lows that he's had this past year. Yeah, he just, it's been a time for him for sure.
Yeah, and I watched Bobby Bones. I watched like a clip of his show, and even he said that it, rightfully so, that Morgan just kind of goes away for a while and just kind of just goes away. So
yeah, this won't be the last we hear from Morgan.
No,
hopefully, hopefully he learns and grows from this and can help, the whole situation, which I think he will.
I think so. I've got faith in him. So, but some other news came out. T.J. Osborne of Brothers Osborne came out as gay, yep, which is pretty cool because he's like the first major label artist to do that.
Yeah, and I think it seems like it was a pretty well-known fact within the Nashville community, and he finally came out, and all the fellow artists have been super supportive, and
mm-hmm.
It's been I think it'll be a good situation for them.
Yeah. It's got to be hard to hide something like that when, you feel a certain way, but you're so worried about being judged by the world when you're that famous. And I think it was just very courageous of him to come out and talk about it. So
yeah,
kudos.
I agree, man.
And like you said, everybody's rallied behind him and just been so supportive, and I think that's awesome. So.
Yep, I agree.
Because we just saw them last year, 2019 now. I keep forgetting the year rolled over. But...
Gosh, it felt like it was last year, doesn't it?
Right, that's the truth.
Oh man.
But moving right along, Cody Johnson,
Yeah,
one of our other
we have
guys.
actually a bunch of new music announcements this week.
Yeah,
Tell us about Cody.
A ton of new music announcements. Cody Johnson announced that he's going to be working on an 18-track project that's coming out.
Yeah, usually if an artist already knows how many tracks are going to be on the album's done. So I'm sure, I mean, he's probably, they're pushing Deer Rodeo to radio right now, so probably once that's over with, we're going to get the lead single from this new project, and I would think late summer, early fall, we'll get the whole project.
Which will be amazing because Cody Johnson is freaking awesome.
Yeah, he's definitely one of our favorites.
This is kind of random, but I got a push notification from my local radio station's app on my phone today.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, man, I didn't even read the article, but Miranda Lambert was involved in a hit and run. Did you hear about that?
I did not hear about that.
Yeah, it was like her tour bus from the alert that I got. From my understanding, nobody was injured or anything like that. But
Oh, that's good.
yeah, thankfully nobody was injured, but I just thought that was so random. I was like, what the heck? But thankfully everybody was okay.
Absolutely.
Luke Bryan has announced a deluxe album of Born Here, Live Here, Die Here.
We called this the day that this album came out, that there would be a deluxe.
Yeah, go back to our Luke Bryan episode. I'm pretty sure we talked about it even.
Yeah.
You may have.
Because the original album's only got 10 tracks, so we knew something was up.
Yeah, and it's not uncommon for him to do a deluxe either. I mean, that's been kind of his thing over the last few years.
Absolutely.
So I'm for it, any Luke Bryan, I'll at least give a spin. I don't necessarily love it all anymore, but speaking of, he did have a song that dropped at midnight, and it was Country Does.
Yeah, what'd you think of that one?
I don't like it. I've probably listened to it 4 or 5 times trying to like it.
Yeah, I agree.
Will it grow on me? Probably, just because it's Luke, but
right.
My wife said it best when she, I sent it to her and she texted me back and was like, "Is he trying to be like Dr. Seuss or something?"
Oh, because of
the intro where he's like, 1 boat, 2 boat, red boat, blue boat, old boat, new boat, or whatever he's saying. I don't even. That may not be accurate, but something like that.
That's pretty close, though. Yeah, that's pretty close.
And he talks about old church, new church, something, 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 and I'm like, what in the world is this? Like a children's rhyming book or something? But
you're right, though. It'll probably grow on me. I'll probably end up liking it, but it was definitely was not a fan from the first couple of listens.
No, I did like the production on it though.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the instruments, yeah. And he even dropped a line kind of towards the end how it's real music when there's a fiddle or something like that. He alludes to the fact of the fiddle, so that was kind of a cool little line, but
yeah,
we'll see. Just kind of like, oh my God, What She Wants Tonight.
Yeah.
How I couldn't even listen to the whole song the first few times I heard. I just kept turning it off, and it became catchy. I don't really like it, but it became catchy. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna. There's 6 songs, including this one, so there's gonna be 5 more songs, and I mean, I'm sure a couple of them are gonna be some of our favorites, because no matter, Luke has put out a couple songs that we don't love, but there's always some of them that we still absolutely love.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And then another drop that happened at midnight, Dan and Shay, Glad You Exist.
Yeah, new single. This will be their 3rd single that they have put out with no EP and no album. So I don't know. And I mean, what'd you think of this one?
It's just typical Dan and Shay.
Yeah, it's just, there's nothing bad about it. It's just the same.
They're great. They have great vocals. They do, but it's just so lovey pop influence. I just can't get into it.
Yeah, I agree.
Nothing wrong with it. It's good. I mean, they sound great on everything that they do, but it's just not for me. And then Carly Pearce dropped Should Have Known Better. Did you get a chance to check that one out?
I did. I think this is probably the 3rd new track that she's put out recently. And she's got the single, and then she had the tribute to her producer Busby, and now this one, and then she announced an EP to go along with it.
Yeah, and that drops on February 19th.
Okay.
So that'll be a good project. Carly's awesome. She's really grown on me over the past few months.
Yeah, absolutely, man. She's got some momentum behind her. So, her last CD just came out a year ago, but it's smart to move on to new stuff when you have a lot of momentum, because fans are always ready for new stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What about the big couple drops from Mr. Eric Church that came out this week.
So Eric to the Church Choir dropped 2 tracks, Leonard Skinner Jones and Lone Wolf. Those came out on Thursday of this week to the Church Choir, which, if you listen to our last couple episodes, I am now a paid member, so I got the exclusive content right to my email. Right. $35 a year, the best $35 I've spent. No,
hey, that's right, man. You're spending your vinyl that you got from the Church Choir tonight.
I was, from my discounted vinyl that wound up still being like $22 or something, but it was cool. I'll support Chief however that's I can. Right. But yeah,
and it looks like Lone Wolf is going to be on and it's not going to be released digitally, at least right now. It wouldn't surprise me if it gets released down the road, but
right.
So you have that song,
one didn't come out.
And I don't, and I'm very jealous.
Yeah, well, like you said, it didn't come out this morning. I expected them both to come out, but because I didn't really read the email, I just flew to the link and clicked it and listened to them, and then I was done. But Leonard Skinner Jones did drop at midnight though for the public to hear, which is pretty cool, and it's a really good storytelling song. I love it.
Yeah,
won't spoil it if you haven't heard it, but if you haven't heard it, go check it out. And then
it's awesome.
Well, then another one that dropped on Spotify that you told me about was Garth and Trisha's "Shallow."
Yeah, this was like a sly release. I always look on Spotify's release radar playlist every Friday because they always have 20 new songs, and it showed Trisha featuring Garth Brooks is "Shallow," but the single is credited to Garth featuring Trisha, but because of Garth's situation with Spotify and Apple and some of the other streamers, he doesn't have any lead singles or any lead music on Spotify. So I wonder if this is going to be a change in Garth's strategy moving forward. I mean, they've tried the Amazon Music thing. They've tried to get people to buy albums, and it just doesn't work. That's not the world we live in anymore. So, no. I mean, if he's gonna keep putting out new music, and if he's gonna try to compete on the radio charts and have hits, he has got to go to Spotify and Apple Music. And if he doesn't, that's fine. He's had an amazing, beyond amazing career. But if he wants to compete and still make new music, he's gonna have to do this. I mean, it's the only option.
I'm with you on that, man. I've been waiting for that day for him to finally convert over to these other platforms, but
yeah, we'll see.
Still waiting.
Yeah, we'll see.
So I've got Amazon Music, so I mean I can listen to his stuff, but it's just
it's so much harder to
it's just
flip
annoying.
Back over to Amazon when you're in the middle of playlists or when you're in the middle of listening to other music.
Right, because you don't want to necessarily just listen to straight Garth all the time. You want to switch it up, get other artists in there, and you can't just make a playlist between Amazon and Spotify. You can't play music cross platforms like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, Garth, get it together.
If this is my prediction now, Garth is always really good at being exclusive until he knows it's not the smart move anymore. So I'm sure that he has, I know when he first signed up with Amazon, it was 2-year contract, another 2-year contract. So I'm sure that his exclusive contract with Amazon ends soon. And it would not surprise me at all if within the next 6 months, in the fall near Christmas time, if he makes a huge splash, all of my back catalog released to Apple and Spotify, I mean, that is the biggest Garth move of all time. So it would not surprise me if that's what we see pretty soon.
That would be pretty iconic, man.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Let's do it. Come on, Garth.
Absolutely, man.
But yeah, man, a couple other announcements. Luke Combs, What You See Is What You Get, double platinum.
Yeah, huge news, man. I was looking earlier today. Carrie is the last solo artist to have her first 2 records go double platinum, and the last male artist to have their first 2 records go multi-platinum are 2 guys named Garth Brooks and Alan Jackson. So that's pretty insane, man.
Yeah. And then the biggest news, in my opinion, of this week, the biggest announcement, Eric Church announced that he is planning a tour.
Yeah, I wonder, what do you think's going on there?
I have no idea what he's trying to pull, but I'm for that especially. I will travel to the other side of the country if I have to. I don't even care.
Yeah, I
will,
don't think Eric would make that video and make that announcement if he was talking about like 2022 or 2023. Like, I think they've got something up their sleeve.
I think we're looking towards fall, maybe winter of this year is probably what they're shooting for. Because anytime you get like a tour announcement, it's usually like a 4 to 6 month in advance type thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, we could be looking at late summer through the fall.
Yeah.
May not necessarily be like a full tour like he's used to doing with like the Double Down tour, but I don't know if there will ever be another tour like that one. But I was thinking, like, how are they going to do this? Are they going to do arena shows and just space people out, kind of like the acoustic jam that we went to?
Yeah.
Or are they going to take advantage of outdoor venues and just make sure that people are, like, spacing apart? But how do you do that in a
how do you make sure
where
people are spaced apart on the lawn?
That's what I'm saying, where
really
you've got,
hard.
Drunk people that are just partying and, they're not going to abide by those rules, I mean, it is what it is. But, like, in, like, the pavilions of these type of outdoor theaters, you can rope off seats or whatever and space them apart, but you're not going to sell a lot of tickets.
Right.
So I don't know. I saw that thing going viral on the internet here. It's probably like when this first started, like a little after this first started, where people were outside on these like platforms at the outdoor venues listening to music. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
Yeah, it's like this platform that's like built up off the ground, and it's you're not caged in, but there are like railings all around it, and they've got them like set up all over this outdoor venue type thing, and I think it was like 4 to 6 people sitting on one, and it was like a way to enjoy live music but still being 6 feet apart.
Yeah, gosh, that would the way the lawns are at these places, like they're slanted for one thing, so it would be almost impossible to build. I don't know.
It'd be tough. This whole thing is changing the course of the world, literally, in so many, especially with live events, whether it be, beer festivals, concerts, amusement parks, all those types of things.
Yeah. But what they've had, they've had a year to figure this out. And they're all dying to get out there and just do something. Whether that's, I'm not saying that this is what I want them to do, but, if it's literally Eric and 1 or 2 band members, or Eric and Joanna, and it's an acoustic tour, and they let 5,000 or 6,000 people in, and they have to charge more for the tickets, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, whatever it is that they figure out they can do, you and I are going to be there for it. I can promise you that.
If I have to get my StubHub for triple face value, or my tickets off StubHub at triple face value, I'm there.
That's right, man. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, but that's going to wrap up the News Out of Nashville segment. We will cover the charts here. Chris, you've got some of the chart info from this last week, so we'll throw that in real quick.
Yeah, the charts for this week are exactly the same as last week. Morgan's got the number 1 album, and Luke still has the number 1 song at radio with Better Together, and he's got the number 1 hot country single. He jumped past Gabby this week with Better Together. Morgan's going to have the number 1 album again next week. Morgan's going to have the number 1 album for a long time. Probably Eric will be the next one that takes it, and he'll probably only take it for a week, and then Morgan will probably take it back. And I think, now it's kind of, we'll be watching what Luke is going to release to radio next. I think that's the next bit of information in country music that we'll be looking to see what happens.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Yep.
But moving on, Mr. Misunderstood by Eric Church. Chris,
here we go, man.
Tell us a little bit about how that release went, what the charts numbers looked like for the singles, man.
Well, Mr. Misunderstood. I think, when you and I were talking about what we were going to do, next, because we love going back and looking at these albums, and obviously, we did Luke's debut album with Kayla, and I think we knew we wanted to cover a Chief album. Chief, what does he get? 7 or 8 albums out now?
Yeah.
And we love all of them. At some point, we'll probably cover all of them. But for whatever reason, you and I both love this particular one. And, I love all of them. I can't even really put pinpoint exactly why this is my favorite Eric album. But since it came out, it has been my favorite Eric album.
Yeah.
And, it's most of the time your favorite album for somebody is really early in their career because that's the first music that you fall in love with for those people.
Sure.
And Mr. Misunderstood is his fifth album. So we already knew Eric. We were already very familiar with Eric. He had already had a ton of hits by the time Mr. Misunderstood came out in November of 2015.
Yeah.
I know you were saying earlier. I mean, I think you said you listened to it 3 or 4 times today. I listened to it front to back a couple times today. The thing that struck me right off the bat with Mr. Misunderstood is it's a very grown up record.
Yes.
It feels like a record from somebody that has lived a lot of life and is not it's a very mature record. I mean, and it's a very diverse record. Every song on this record is very different. The content is very different. The stories are very different. The melodies are very different. There's only 10 tracks on this record, and it's really like 10 very small little mini stories that Eric tells on this record.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I was, when I went back to it this week, because I've actually listened to it a couple times throughout the weekend, a few times today, but it shocked my memory that it was only 10 tracks, because it feels like such a deep, thorough project.
It really does.
And you're like, oh god, there's only 10 songs, 38 minutes, and like 39 seconds of music. You're like, man, must be just from repeating them so many times that it feels like it's longer than it is. But yeah,
that's definitely part of it. But the other thing Eric does really well is he incorporates the live versions of these songs so well into like what he has released between the Caught in the Act and then the 61 Days and I mean it's so. It might only be 10 songs, but you fall in love with the live versions of these songs.
Oh yeah,
and some of those are longer, and he plays them differently, and yeah, I mean it definitely feels like a longer record than it is.
Yeah, definitely, which is a good thing, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But in my mind, a traditional album, is 10 to 12 songs.
Oh yeah,
it is kind of short for today's standards, but this record came out almost 5.5 years ago now, which is that's kind of hard to believe because it feels like yesterday. I mean,
it feels fresh.
Yeah, probably the biggest newsworthy thing about this album is that it was a totally surprise album. This is really like Beyonce had been doing this in the pop world for a couple of years. Taylor Swift has done it. But this really had never happened in country music, where there was no lead single, there was no prep for it, there was no nothing. It was totally thrown on the church choir. I think probably the day before it was released, right?
Yeah, no. If my memory serves me correctly from my research rather earlier, it was November 3rd, 2015.
Yeah, day before the CMAs,
church
right?
Choir, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he played the lead single, I believe, off of the record at the CMAs.
Yeah, and I mean, Mr. Misunderstood was the lead single. It is an amazing song that we'll get to here in a little bit, but it is not the kind of song that anybody but Eric would release as a lead single from a CD.
Totally church, 100%.
Yeah, totally church. Yeah.
Was not to please or appease anybody. It was just something that was just a church move, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, when you listen back to this record, I can't think of anybody else in Nashville that could have made a record like this other than Eric.
No, like you mentioned earlier, man, it's just very mature, and I mean, there's odes to him being a father and a family man, and just like almost kind of some of them are just reminiscent too, like you said, have just lived a long time, lived a long life, and it just it's just one of those records that speaks to you.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, the previous Eric's first 2 records were hits, and they established him in Nashville, and then Chief came out, and it made him a total superstar.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of Chief is the defining record of his career, and then The Outsiders came out, and it's a long record, I think it's got 15, 16 songs, and it was kind of like his, his attempt to try to follow the huge success that Chief was. And I love The Outsiders. It's a great record. It's got some really, really great songs, a lot of great live songs on it. But then this one came out, and this was literally just Eric saying, I'm done. I'm kind of done playing any of the games in Nashville, and I'm just going to do it my way from now on.
Yeah. The Outsiders is a good one, too, man. A Man Who Was Going to Die Young, Talladega, Cold One.
Oh,
Probably one of my favorite live songs by Eric. That's Damn Rock and Roll.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, so good.
Give Me Back My Hometown. I mean, there's a ton of hits off that record. And
Dark Side. That's awesome live.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gosh, broke record. I mean,
Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, and I feel like that record probably gets the most heat from his fans.
You think?
From what I've read in like the groups, like the Facebook groups and online communities, like I feel like that record, people are like, oh, it's just kind of weird. And I'm like, I don't really think it was weird. I think it was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, when you're following a record like Chief, it's hard to match that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. That's definitely a standout record.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't really like Eric Church, but I like this song or that song. It's always off Chief.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's always Springsteen or Like Jesus Does, or you know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
Which those are amazing songs. And can you remember what the moment or what the song was that turned you into a huge Eric fan?
A huge Eric fan?
Because I'm sure you follow. I mean, you follow everything just like I do. So you were probably a casual fan from the beginning. But what really made you his top guy?
I think Chief was huge for me to really like him when that dropped. And that, I know that sounds cliche. I like the Sinners Like Me album a lot, and I had heard those songs and I'd listened to them. And, I think it was what really made me dive into his catalog deeper and then become like, make him one of my top guys was probably Mr. Misunderstood.
Yeah.
That was probably the moment where I was like, this guy's something special. And I've just followed him over the years since, and finally got to see him live a few times over the last couple of years, and it's just that did it really. Seeing him live for the first time, I'm like, holy shit, there's nobody doing it like this. And I've been to 100 concerts, and I'm like, this guy, he knows what he's doing, and he knows how to win a crowd over.
Yeah, I agree, man.
And this is a guy that doesn't have 25 number ones,
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. We're to not have that much commercial radio success with your singles go number one, and to break attendance records at stadiums, to sell out arenas, to have this like rampant, rabid fan base behind you is impressive.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, man. I mean, when Chief came out, Homeboy was the lead single, and Homeboy was a hit, but it was not a huge hit. And then I'm looking right now, it peaked at number 13 at radio, and then the record came out and it did insane numbers. And I think that was really the first moment that Nashville was like, this guy's fan base is on a different level compared to what we're doing with him on radio. I think I looked last week, he's had like 7 songs barely make the top 15 at radio, and they're all huge songs that most fans would think were number one hits. I mean, Cold One I don't even think made the top 20 at radio, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. I mean,
that one's so good live too.
Yeah, I mean it's so good, man.
It's weird to think, that, and maybe we're biased because we follow him so closely and we are huge fans. I don't know. I've never really looked at it from the other perspective, but it's just crazy to think that those songs didn't go higher on the charts.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it almost seemed. I mean, in the interview Eric did this past week, he kind of said, for lead singles, I have tried to pick in your face controversial songs, and I know they're not going to be hits, but then we usually follow that lead single with a huge hit with the second song. And if you look at the track record, even on this record that we're talking about today, Mr. Misunderstood was a statement song, and the fans love it. But it only went to 15 at radio. But then he followed it with probably his second biggest radio song with Record Year.
Yeah.
So Eric knows what in the hell he is doing. I mean, it's crazy, man.
Well, just like with the most recent project, stick that in your country song. You know?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then followed it up with Hell of a View, if I'm thinking chronologically correctly here.
And it's flying up the radio chart.
Yeah. It's like he knows what he's doing.
He really does.
Make a statement, get some attention, then boom, drop the one people will love.
Yeah, and it almost, we talk about it all the time, but it's also his reputation of like, he's gotten to the point where he knows that he needs to not chase just hit songs, because that's not what his fan base wants.
No, and you see that all the time in the church official, the church choir official Facebook group or whatever.
Yeah.
You'll see them and they're like, people will comment and literally say, who cares if it goes number one? Who cares if he wins a CMA? Who cares about these awards? We don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, Eric doesn't care. We don't care. We just want the good quality, perfect music and entertainer that we have become huge fans of.
Yeah.
Now, me, I don't know if it's the competitive side of me or not, but I love when he gets number ones and when he does get those awards, but... Because at the end of the day, it makes everything better when you're winning some awards, right? I'm sure.
Well, and if he's having number ones and if he's winning awards, then that means that he's still relevant and that we're going to get another huge record and another huge tour. You know what I mean? Like,
and maybe new people are hearing it about him.
Absolutely.
The younger generations are hearing his name and seeing him on TV shows, hearing him on the radio. So that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
If anybody listens to the radio anymore, especially younger generations.
You're right, man. You're right. It's definitely fading, but there's still the bedrock radio in smaller communities that definitely still matters.
Yeah. I've caught myself turning the radio off so much over the past year because sometimes I'll turn it on just to see what they're playing and stuff and. Like, lately, man, all you hear is, like, COVID ads and, like, all this annoying stuff. I'm like, I don't want to listen to this on the radio. I want to listen to music, so I'll just hook my phone back up and play Spotify.
Yeah, you're right.
But, yeah. So, the album is amazing. It's a solid project. The production was amazing. And I actually read that he wrote these tracks in 20 days, wrote 20 songs in 20 days. And then after like 2 months, he had the 10 tracks picked out that he wanted and had it ready to go, pretty much.
That's similar to what he did this time, right?
Yeah, he's a songwriting machine, literally.
He is. Yeah.
And that's what he wanted to do originally. I think I talked about this with our interview we did last week with Colby Acuff. If you guys don't know Colby, go check out his music because he's awesome, by the way.
Yeah, but, last week that episode turned out to be one of my favorites, man. He was so good, Colby was.
Oh, yeah, such a good dude, too, and such a good artist, so we definitely wish him the best.
But yeah, Eric he's a songwriting animal.
Yeah. It's crazy, man, but I'm trying to find out I'm trying to look up right now, actually, while we're talking, the history of the album, because it was an interesting story, really. I'm on the Wikipedia page, so it says here, within 20 days, he had 20 songs written for the album, went to the studio where 20 days later, after having some recording sessions, 10 tracks were ready to go. So after, 20 days of writing, within 20 days, he had those 10 tracks picked out. That's crazy.
It is, and when you read a story like that, you always wonder what happened to those other 10 songs. Did he end up
sprinkled
releasing
into Desperate Man, or like what happened?
Yeah, exactly, man.
And Jay Joyce produced this album.
Oh yeah, he's been with Eric since the beginning, I think.
Which he's a huge name.
Sway. Yeah.
Yeah, yep, great producer. So.
And the other thing about Eric is you can literally look at the first record and the second record all the way up to the new records. And he has written with the same guys. Casey Beathard, Jeff Hyde, Travis Meadows, Luke Dick, Monty Criswell, Jeremy Spillman. Eric has, I feel like coming out of Nashville, if you are writing with your buddies and people that you are so familiar with, that you're not trying to chase a formula. So you're writing from your heart because they know what you're trying to get out to the public. And you never see Eric writing with what people would consider the top hit makers in Nashville. It's always people in his band and these guys that he's written with from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He co-wrote "Quitting Time" on Morgan's latest album, and
That's
I would
right. I
have
forgot
I would
about
have
that.
loved to have heard him cut that. I mean, I think Morgan did it well or whatever, but I think it definitely sounds like an Eric song.
Yeah, it definitely does.
But yeah, it just I'm going back to it, but it just blows my mind that he has said in interviews like I just moved here to be a songwriter. I didn't know this was going to be what it is today. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but it's just mind blowing that he's
Yeah. Because I mean,
grown the
think
fan
about
base
there's
and
hundreds of people that are songwriters in Nashville that never get to record, never get to be a recording star, and Eric would have been fine if that's all that would have happened to him.
oh yeah,
You know?
oh yeah, I'm with you, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What do you say? You want to jump into this ranking?
Yeah, I'm trying. I think I got a couple more things in my notes. I had so much stuff written down for this album because this album is just. I mean, when we get into these songs, I mean, these songs are incredible. But the other two things I had written down, my notes here, because the album, I think you probably know this story, but I just love this story. Because the album was a secret, they literally bought a record manufacturing plant in Germany and manufactured the vinyls over there in secret
Yeah,
so that nobody would know that they were making this record. But that's just crazy to me
absolutely
that
insane.
that they did that.
No leaks.
Yeah,
And then
no leaks, no nothing.
I did read that some of the content got uploaded to YouTube from like church choir members that got the early access, and it was like quickly removed due to copyright infringement.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm like, you pay to have the membership. Why are you sharing that with the world? But it's all about
funny.
going viral in today's world.
It is. I mean, when this album came out, I was already a big Eric fan. I'm probably a bigger fan now than I was when this album came out. But when this album came out, I was a really big Eric fan, and I didn't know anything about it. I had not heard Mr. Misunderstood. I didn't know that he was going to perform at the CMAs that song. Like I was totally. I mean, obviously, there were rumors that Eric was getting ready to put out new music because it had been a while since his previous record. But this just never happened. I mean, you just don't put out records in Nashville that people don't know anything from, or that you have not released a lead single. So it was definitely something that only Eric could do.
Yeah.
And Stapleton could probably do it now, because he doesn't rely on radio as much. But at that time, Eric was the only person in Nashville that could have done something like this.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely, man.
And it's crazy.
Yeah, and to your point of like him being the only one that does it, you see like everybody pushing, like especially in the streaming world, man. They'll draw, and he's even done it with this latest album or triple album, whatever. Like they'll just release so much building up to the album that when the album finally drops, you're like, oh, I've been listening to this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one for 3 to 6 months. 3 to 6 months now, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Which I guess they make up for it by doing these like double and triple albums or like larger albums with like 15 to 17 songs, but
Yeah.
just miss the old days where you didn't get 4 to 8 songs before an album dropped.
Yeah, I mean, think about this record. Literally, like, the record came out, and here's 10 brand new songs that you don't even know the name. Like, we didn't even know the names of these songs or
Right.
what any of them sounded like. It was a total surprise when this came out. Everything about it.
Yeah. It's a double-edged sword, man. You love getting new music from people, but then when you find out it's all just going to be on the one big album, you're like, oh, well, when the album drops, I've only got, 6 songs I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
But, like I said, you're always excited for new music, so what the heck, so.
Yeah, you're right. The other note I had here was, the night of the CMAs that he performed this is the night that Stapleton performed with Timberlake, and it probably took a little bit of the luster and a little bit of the attention off of Eric, because that was such huge news, and with Justin being there and kind of all the news stations covering that. If that hadn't happened that night and Eric had released a surprise album, it would have been an even bigger deal. I mean, it was still a huge deal. This album went platinum. He had 4 huge records off this album. Sometimes surprise albums like this can can come and go real quick too.
Yeah.
And this one has stayed around forever. And I would think that most diehard Eric fans would put this in at least in their top 2 or 3 of his records, and a lot would put it at the top.
I agree. I totally agree with you, man. I would probably put this one number 1, Sinners Like Me number 2.
Yeah.
I really like Desperate Man. I'd probably throw that at number 3, and then
Yeah.
Chief number 4. The Outsiders.
Desperate Man, I think will go down as his most underrated album for sure.
Oh, it's so good, man.
Yeah.
And it's only got 10 tracks on it.
Yeah, 11 tracks.
Is it 11?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
You're looking at it right now. You're
I
lying.
am. I'm gonna jam it as soon as we're done with this. I'm listening to
Copyright.
Eric the rest of the night.
Copyright. You're right, man. 11 songs, 36 minutes, and 46 seconds. I'm a liar. I'm a liar. No,
And it only had 3. It only had, Desperate Man only had 3 singles off of it. So I mean, it some of it was the only big hit off of Desperate Man.
which I figured that one would be.
Yeah.
I'm surprised
So
Monsters didn't do better.
Yeah, I think it just came out right when Even Though I'm Leaving came out for Luke, and
Yeah,
they're a little bit similar, and Even Though I'm Leaving was just such a monster at radio.
Yeah. What isn't a monster at radio that Luke Combs does?
That's right. That's right, man. That is right.
But cool, man. Yeah, most definitely. Let's jump into this ranking, man. If you guys
Let's do it, man.
If you guys are new to the show, Chris and I rank our the songs and our favorites. So our least favorite to our most favorite, we always start with 10, go all the way up to 1, or the lowest number, how many tracks are on the album, all the way up to number 1.
Yep.
So we will start with number 10. For me, I've got Knives of New Orleans.
Oh man. Okay. Well, obviously, all of these songs are perfect songs. I mean, this is.
Oh yeah.
So when I was ranking this 10 to 1, you just have to pick stuff to put at the bottom. But these are all amazing songs.
Mm-hmm.
Number 10, I have Holding My Own.
Ooh, okay. We might be a little diverse on this one, man.
Yeah, I think we'll probably end up having one or two the same, but
Yeah, I'm sure. That top 3 will hit us hard.
that's right, man.
But number 9, I've got Kill a Word.
Okay. What'd you think of that one?
It's a good one. It's just, I don't know. It just didn't do much for me.
Yeah.
It's one that I don't skip anything on this record, but when it comes on, I'm just kind of like, meh, it's good, but I feel like I've heard it a billion times and just kind of, meh. It's just meh.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there, but I also when he decided to release "Kill the Word" as a radio single, I was like so shocked that they would have pushed that one to radio that I think it made me like it a little bit more because nobody but Eric could have released a song like "Kill the Word" to radio. I mean, nobody else. Not only could nobody else have done it, nobody else would have even attempted to record a song like this.
Right, especially at that time.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So, Chris, what do you have at number 9, man?
Number 9, I have a song that you probably love because you can relate to this a lot more than I can. But 3-Year-Old.
Ooh, such a good one.
Yeah, it's amazing. But I had to just put it low because I don't have any kids, so I couldn't relate to it as much as some people like you.
Yeah, and I actually have a 3-year-old right now, so
That's
I
right,
totally
man.
relate to it. But number 8, man, I had Mixed Drinks About Feelings.
Okay.
It's a
What'd you
good
think
one.
of that one.
It is a very good song, don't get me wrong, but it had to go somewhere.
That's right. That's right. That's kind of that's our feelings about a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, it's really hard to when you've got to put it somewhere, you got to put it somewhere,
That's right, man. Number 8 for me, I've got Chattanooga Lucy.
Okay, that's a good one though.
Yeah, I love it.
That one, they're all good live. Every single one of these.
Oh yeah.
There really ain't a bad live church song that I know of, but
I don't know if I've ever heard Holding My Own or 3-Year-Old live.
I haven't heard 3-Year-Old, but he did do Hold My Own at the Cincinnati show on the Double Down tour, I want to say.
Okay.
I believe it was the second set. I can't remember. Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure, yeah. But number 7, I had Chattanooga Lucy.
Okay, so we were close on that one.
Pretty close.
Number 7, I've got Kill the Word.
Kill Word, yeah.
Yeah.
Rolling along here. Number 6, I had Holding My Own.
Okay, hold on.
I
Number
like a Family
6.
Man kind of song, you know.
Oh yeah, it's
Very
a great
good.
one. It's so good, man.
What
so
do you have?
so good. Number 6, I had Mixed Drinks.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, top 5. We had to get through that. Now we're
I was
we're
gonna say our
into the
top 5 might be pretty similar. We'll see.
We'll see.
Number 5, I have Mistress Name Music.
Okay, so do I.
I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it.
Oh, that's funny, man. Tell us about this one.
It's just such a good one, man. Married to a Dream and with a Mistress Name Music.
Oh man,
So good.
You're gonna give me goosebumps, man.
So good.
Yeah, it is so good.
And if you're new here, guys, side note, Chris and our rankings sometimes are very similar.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't talk about the rankings.
No, we do not talk about it before
we do it.
Anytime I make like an outline for the show of what we're going to talk about, I always leave the rankings blank. So that way Chris won't know what mine are, and I cannot influence him, and he cannot influence me. So, yeah, but that's what I had at number 5.
So good, man. I mean,
And you did too. So
I did, yeah.
We'll move on to number 4.
What you got?
Number 4, I had 3-Year-Old.
Okay.
And again,
I knew that would be high up there for you.
And, you know, back in the day, it may not have been, but now that I am a father to a 3-year-old that thinks he's a cowboy that wants to go to the moon, it is like 100% relatable to me. Literally, my little boy, he wears cowboy boots. He has like this camouflage fishing hat that looks like a cowboy hat. And he always calls himself a cowboy. And this was like 2 weeks ago. We were going out to get into the car to go get some food or something for dinner. And he points up at the sky. He's like, "Daddy, let's go to the moon." And he had his little cowboy hat, like fishing hat on. I'm just like, oh my God.
That's awesome, man.
Like so related. Like that is literally my life.
Yeah. This song is your life right now.
Yeah. And, you know, just the innocence that a child can bring to you as a grown man. And, you know, that's kind of the theme of the song that, you know, you learn to say, you know, when you're wrong, you can just say so. And, talk to God and things like that. It's just very deep and easily to connect to for me.
Yeah, it's so good, man.
What about you?
Number 4, Knives of New Orleans.
Ooh, yes. No wonder you were shocked I had it at number 10.
Well, I still don't even know exactly what this song is about. This song, out of all of Eric's songs, like even in the groups, people are like, "What do you think this song's about? What do you think this song's about?" Because it's really vague, and he doesn't go into a lot of specific detail in this song, which I think probably makes it one of my favorites because I can listen to it over and over and over and just try to figure out what he's talking about in this song.
It's really easy to listen to. It sounds great.
It does. It does sound great. It's got a real swampy feel to it.
Yeah, swampy. What a I don't even know what to say. It's swampy. No, but I feel you, man. It's
funny, man.
I couldn't put it that high because I kind of like what you said. I don't understand the context and what it's about.
Yeah.
I can't relate to it. I mean, it's great. It's church, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't really know what the heck this is about, but it sounds good. So
Yeah,
I'll turn it up.
someday Eric's gonna write a sequel to this song, and this song's gonna make a lot more sense.
I think Grady talked about it on one of his older videos. If memory serves me well, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
If you guys don't know who Grady is, Grady Smith, he is a YouTuber that reviews country music, and he's awesome. We're big fans of Grady, so go check him out too.
Yeah, for sure, man. Top 3, here we go.
Top 3, man. I've got Round Here
Okay,
Buzz.
wait a second. Okay.
You do too, don't you?
Yeah, we're going to have the exact same top 3.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, we probably will.
Yes, number 3, Round Here Buzz.
Yep, Round Here Buzz. Very, very churchy, very good. It did decent at radio.
Yeah, top 2.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, when I first heard this record, I always like to predict what the singles are going to be, and most of these songs are not single material. Like if they're the exact opposite of what you would hear on the radio. But Round Here Buzz, you could tell from the very beginning that this one was going to be a big hit.
Yep, absolutely. Just from like that opening, the instrumentation is just great awesome too, man. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that was my number 3. I'm gonna say we don't have the same top 2.
Okay.
Number 2, I had Mr. Misunderstood.
So do I.
Oh man! All right. We promise.
This is wild, man. This is wild.
This might be the most we've had the same actually, or similar anyway. But
oh man,
Mr. Misunderstood, top 2. It self-explanatory, awesome song. Why do you have it so high, man?
I mean, for a ton of reasons. I mean, anytime Eric puts out a song like this as the lead single, it's what makes Eric Eric. So I'm always gonna love it, and it's a song about misfits and not fitting in and finding your place, and just being freaking cool even when you're not cool, and he name drops Ray Wiley Hubbard and Jeff Tweedy from Wilco. And my best friend in the world since I was 4 years old, his favorite band is Wilco, and nobody in the country music world has ever even heard of Wilco before. So when he name dropped Jeff Tweedy from Wilco, I mean, like, I remember I was sitting there watching the CMAs, and I came up off the couch when I heard that. I was like, oh my God, I already love this dude, but now I really love this dude. So it's just an awesome song, man. Awesome.
Speaking of the name drop of Ray Wiley Hubbard, he actually co-wrote "Desperate Man."
Oh, did he?
The track, yeah. He won
cool.
a songwriter award at one of these award shows, like I don't want to say a smaller award show, but not like a CMA or a ACM, but he did win an award for it, and Eric presented it to him.
Oh, that's cool, man.
So
that's definitely
cool.
One of Eric's heroes.
Oh yeah, so that had to be a special moment for them too.
And speaking of CMAs, in the next year, in 2016, this won Album of the Year at the CMAs, and he was nominated for Album of the Year at the ACMs, and lost out on that one.
One of the tracks, I cannot remember right now, but one of them was nominated for Song of the Year, right? Or am I wrong about that?
Oh, well, any of them could have been. Let me see.
Right.
Let me see if I can find it. Because it's obvious what our number one is about to be.
Right.
So
I couldn't find it.
We'll find it.
I thought it.
Let's go ahead and jump into the big one here, man.
Yeah, we'll get back to you guys on that, but number 1, man. As we both know, we both had record year.
Yeah.
That's a deep song. It's a good play on the word record.
It is.
It is an amazing song live. I mean,
yeah, maybe my favorite. I mean, Springsteen's always going to be amazing live, but this is probably my favorite Eric song live.
Yeah. When we first decided to do this album, like review and talk about this album, I already knew that was going to be my number 1.
Yeah, I did. Literally, when I was making my list, I put Holding My Own at number 10 because that's just the one that I don't go back to as much. And then I put Record Year at number 1 because no matter what, I knew that was going to be my top choice.
And it's cool live because he signs people's records that are in the pit during it.
Yeah, it's
cool. Just really cool. He'll just take a break in the middle of the song, and people will hold their records, or they somehow snuck into the arena, and he'll just sign them, and it's just a cool experience. But
yeah, I mean, there's nothing groundbreaking about it. It's a breakup song. It's about a guy trying to recover from a breakup, but just the wordplay and the way that he references,
having a record
Hank
year
and Stevie Wonder, and there's certain songs, even if they're supposed to be sad songs or breakup songs, like they just make you feel good. And this song from the very beginning, the groove and the lyrics and everything about it was just it's a perfect song.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I agree with you. So overall, what would you rate this album out of 10?
Oh, I mean, it's a 10. I mean, you couldn't get any better than this. Like you said, it's definitely in my top 10. It could be in my top 5 albums of all time.
Yeah. And it probably comes at no surprise. I would give it a 10 out of 10 as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, this is, again, one of my all-time top 5 favorite albums. So, yeah. But that's Mr. Oh my goodness. Mr. Misunderstood.
It's so hard.
Tongue twister. Man.
It is.
But yeah, that's it. Eric Church, Mr. Misunderstood. If you haven't heard the album yet, I don't know where you've been, under a rock maybe, but go check it out.
Yeah, before the new record comes out, go spend the next couple months listening to this record.
Yeah, it'll get you hyped up.
It will, man.
But yeah, we got an exciting interview next week. We've got an up-and-coming artist, Braden Jamison, coming on. So I'm pretty stoked for that.
Yeah, man. I mean, last week's episode was amazing. So I'm really looking forward to having the next guest on, because we love getting to talk to these guys and learn their story.
Yeah, absolutely. And he seems like a pretty good kid. I think he's 19 years old, out of Oklahoma, I want to say.
That's awesome.
He's currently going to school in Nashville at Belmont University.
Oh, yeah.
I watched a live video he did with another media outlet page on Instagram, and I was kind of just watching to get to know him a little bit so we'd have some things to talk about, and just good kid. He's got his current single is Playing George. You can find that on all major streaming platforms, so go check that out before next week's show, guys. He's definitely going to do some big things, I think.
Yeah. It's gonna be another fun one, man.
Absolutely, as always, man. And if you guys are not following us on social media, you're doing it all wrong. Go check us out. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, at Bro Country Pod. On Facebook, just search Bro Country Podcast. Join our group, like our Facebook page. We'd love to have you in our community. And man, that is all I've got for this one. You got anything?
We're good, man.
All right. As always, until next time, keep it country and take care of each other.